Hello, hello, beautiful souls of Elevate. Today, I want to speak to you about resistance. When we move in resistance in energy, what that looks like, what that feels like. When I was in meditation the other day, I sat and I did my spiritual practice and then I centered myself. And then Sai Baba came to me and he brought me to this place and he said, "Do you remember this life?" And we went to this place in a life experience that we shared together. And I said, "Yes, of course, Baba, I remember this life. In this life, I was a Buddhist in training. So I was at a monastery and I was tilling the ground. I was attempting to grow vegetables. And in that life, in that state, I was very, very frustrated. And I said, "Yes, of course, I remember this experience." And then he said, "Do you remember the lesson of that experience?" And I said, "Of course I do. That's why I'm here with you now. The resistance in the ground, the resistance in the cycle and connection of life." And he said, "Ah, yes, 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 the resistance." And then he spoke to me and he said, "I wish for you to share this message on resistance that you learned in this life. In this life, in this experience, I was very, very young and I was new to the monastery. And I was observing the energy of myself in that moment, as I am today, looking at that life. And the energy of resistance in that. And I was told by the master of the temple, to go cultivate the garden. The garden was my responsibility, and I shared that responsibility with only one other person. And in that experience, I would become very, very frustrated because I did not want to be tilling the garden. I did not want to be growing vegetables. I wanted to be meditating. I wanted to be seeking enlightenment. And at that time, I did not understand that to be cultivating the garden was to be fueling and nurturing the foundation of the path of my enlightenment. And as I was doing these things, as I was tilling the garden, I produced very poor vegetables. I produced very poor vegetation. They didn't grow well. Some of them died. It was very difficult for me, and I remember being in the garden and not wanting to be there. When we act in resistance, it could be the simplest thing. It could be, I don't want to make my bed. I don't want to go to the grocery store. But they're tasks you must do. When you do them in resistance, you bring and affect what you're creating in your field to have more resistance. And then if you do that thing too many times, the people in the environment will start to become disgruntled, unhappy, and they'll start to reflect at you your resistance. Then they don't want to do things. They don't want to do things with you, or they don't want to do the task. They make it more difficult for you to achieve the outcome that you're there for. One of the most powerful lessons of that life, in that experience at the monastery, was to then watch my community eat the vegetables from my garden, and how quickly my resistance fed out into the community that I was there to serve. And the meals were small, and they were less nourishing, and they were not bountiful, until I had learned that the ground was responding to my resistance. It was responding to my energy, to my emotions. And when I could come out of that resistance and I could learn to love the ground with my hands and the tilling and the care of the vegetables, and then they started to grow. They started to grow more. They started to grow healthier, bigger. And it was only then that I could share my nourishment, my light, with other people's light in my community, and they could partake of that light, and their light got bigger also. The same is true today about that resistance. So what do you do? What do you do about this resistance when you just do not have the desire to do something? You ask yourself where it is in your body. Where is this resistance in me that I do not want to do this? You ask for it to be present, to be in your awareness, and acknowledge that that resistance has served a purpose. Every emotion, everything you experience in your field has served a purpose. Acknowledge its purpose. Have gratitude for the purpose, and then tell it to leave your field. Tell it to leave. Send it back to the source from where it came, and you will get very used to hearing me speak about this particular process, to sending it back, to letting it go. And you will do this many times, sometimes many times on the same task or the same thing, because the mind is patterned in its resistance to everything. Everything that you resist is a pattern. And it is okay. It is okay to acknowledge the pattern, and that the pattern served the purpose. The purpose is no longer there for it, and that it is safe to let it go, to send it away. Whether you receive it into the divinity that you are, into the divine heart, whether you send it back to its source of origin, whether you surrender it to Mother Gaia, to the Ascended Master. Move it out of your awareness. And then as you start to do that, you will see how your environment then will also start to reflect to you this ease of movement. This light starts to get a little bit bright. So be not in resistance, be in the flow, be in the acceptance of movement of your life. The more you resist your life, the more resistance will come to you, the more lacking that will come to you. But you have the ability to choose now. You have the ability to focus now. So go bring that focus into your life. Write it out on paper. See where it is. Acknowledge it. Bring it to the light. And love it. Be in gratitude of it. And then the love and the gratitude will transform it into something else. Something positive, something higher. So take this today and learn it in this lifetime and reap the benefits of what that looks like for you. I look forward for you to share the experience with me. Share with me when you do this practice. How did you receive it? How does it look for you in your life? Share with me. I'm here to hold that for that transformation for you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So much love to you, beauty. So much love.